Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and we're going to look today at some vintage mint on card sales prices, as we like to do on this channel on eBay. We've got budget-friendly options. We've got some very high-grade buy-it-nows that I did not see get listed that sold like that, and kind of everything in between. So I appreciate those of you that watch the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. Be sure to leave me a like if you enjoy my content. All right, let's take a look at some recent sales. We're going to start off with this AFA 75 grade 21 back B Darth Vader. The 21 back Vaders, I feel like you don't see very often. And I don't even remember the last time I've seen one on eBay, to be honest with you. So an AFA 75, this one was a buy it now, 75, 85, 85. So two high 85 subgrades. You can see why it got the 75 for the card score for those creases above the hang tab. Nice clear blister that was in high grade. Nice figure. Everything looked good except for those two creases. But those two creases were so substantial enough that's what happens. You get two 85 subscores, but one of those scores of a 75 was so bad and so noticeable from a presentation perspective that AFA dropped the whole overall score down to a 75. It's not an average of the three subscores. So $1,100 on that one. Here are the two that I was thinking of when I started this video. These two I did not see show up. They sold immediately. They were an this first one was an AFA 80 clear blister Han Solo Bespin on the tough to find 48 back B. And so that is the actual true Revenge of the Jedi sticker on the front of the card. And then on the back of the card, it has a sticker for the Admiral Akbar offer. The 48Bs, especially in high grade, you just don't see them all that often. Very, very clean example overall. That one sold for $11.49, big number. And I do feel like that's the case with any clear blister ESB Han Bespin. They tend to command big money, usually in the four figures, especially in buy it nows. But, you know, even in auctions, I've seen clear blister, high grade ESB Han Bespins go for $1,000 or more. And then the same seller also had this beauty. I'm shocked it sold, but it was listed. In all fairness, it was listed as sold. This was an AFA 80 plus Emperor's Royal Guard. It was a beautiful clear blister, 65 back B. 80, 85, 85 for an overall 80 plus. Wow, what a beauty. But it was a punched example, but clear blister, and they wanted $2,000 for it, and it says it sold at $2,000. Now, I'm pretty sure I know who this seller is, and he has an incredible collection, but, you know, to me, that number really shocked me. I would have guessed it would have been half that price, maybe $1,000 at the top end, but it did get marked as sold at $2,000. Here was a 32B Leia Bespin AFA 80, but just note that it did have some yellowing start to happen around the blister. It's very slight, but it is there. 32B 80, 85, 80 were the subscores on that one. That was an unpunched example. No price sticker. $405.99. Pretty good deal there. Again, I think that the market discounted the fact that it was no longer a clear blister, and that's why it sold for the price that it did. If it was a true clear blister, probably at least $600 would have been my guess, if not even higher than that. So that one is probably a fair deal given the yellowing. This seller had some interesting sales. This one was a 21 back Secret Star Wars action figure offer, obviously the Bosk mail away, for the Jawa. These are transition card backs where only the first 21 figures appeared on this card, so they are very desirable. This one was not in perfect condition. It had some, you know, edge wear and things like that. It still sold at $500. The Darth Vader also had massive creases, as you can see, as well as litho tears from the price sticker being removed. Same card back, the 21 back. It looks like it's also peeling away from the card. The blister is on the right-hand side. You can see a little tear there. That's still sold at $371 in that condition. So that just shows you how high-grade examples for this transition ESB 21 back can go for a lot of money, just given that these lesser examples are going for massive numbers. Here was another one. This one was a 21 back Princess Leia. This one was in very rough shape. You can see lots of edge wear around the hang tab as well as on the card. Price sticker. That one still sold for $395. Still clear blister. Obviously, Leia has some discoloration as well on the torso. So even in those conditions, though, they're still commanding pretty good money just because they are transition cards. The other Leia that this seller had was a 41 back with a slightly yellowed blister. And the figure on this one looked pretty clean. So you never know. The torso on this one was nice and bright white, whereas this torso had yellowed quite a bit. So probably a different factory. This one also had a cracked blister, by the way. You can see here on the right-hand side of the blister, it still was cracked and, you know, pieces were missing from the blister, and it still sold at $395. It's just unbelievable prices for those 21 backs. But this one, this 41 back was unpunched, no price sticker, yellowing to the blister. Also massive crease on the card, as you can see there. Still sold at $305. This Boss did get noted in the auction description that they sent it to AFA. It was rejected for ink touch-up. So this was the 32 back, poor man's debut card for Boss, as I like to call it. Clear blister, unpunched. It certainly looked like a grade-worthy example. I can understand why the seller tried to grade this one. Probably would have gotten an 80, maybe a 75 plus with some edge wear, but that one sold at $305, even noting the ink touch-up on the card. Usually when they say read in the auction description, it means there's a problem. It means there's something wrong with it, whether it's ink touch-up, cracked blister, or some other defect that they want to note for the people looking at it. So $305 in an auction for an ink touch-up 32 back B Bosk. Same seller also had this beautiful 65 back C Emperor offer. Yoda, again, had some issues, has a crease around the blister, had some light litho issues on the right-hand side of the card. That one sold at $341. You know, in higher grade, this one was certainly would have got a lot more money. You can see there the blister has some faint veins to it. I don't think it's cracked, but it's got some stress marks on the blister. So $341 for that one. This one was a beauty. This is the 48 back A offerless Imperial Stormtrooper Hoth Battle Gear. Obviously, the 48As are very desirable because they don't have any offers on there. Unfortunately, this one did have some litho issues from where they tried to remove the price sticker. Don't do that if you have one of these vintage items, or send it to somebody that knows what they're doing. There are professionals that are capable of taking those stickers off very carefully and not causing any damage. Me personally, I just leave them alone. It's the safest thing to do, okay? So this 48 back A punched example for the Hoth Stormtrooper sold for $338 in an auction. If those litho tears had not been there, you can probably pretty close to double that price for the 48A Hoth Stormy. This was an interesting one that I wanted to spend some time on because a number of you reached out about it. This is a transition 48 back free 9 offer Luke Hoth Battle Gear. And everyone was saying it looks a little off. It looks a little off. And, you know, I agree. It does look a little off. There's something going on with it. But what I think it is that if you'll notice on the left-hand side there, it has the stamp for the, you know, the manufacturing date stamp on the blister, which a lot of Return of the Jedis do have. But usually they're in the lower right-hand corner by the character's foot, by the action figure's foot. So I think, I'm just guessing, I'm speculating here, that this blister was just put on upside down, and that's what caused it to look weird to some of us. I don't think it's a reseal. The top of that blister does look a little weird. I think it's just pulling away, though, from the card, and that's what's causing that kind of speckling look to it. But I think the blister's pulling away at the top, at the very top of the blister, and then on the right-hand side, you'll see that's just a date stamp from where some of these Return of the Jedis had a date stamp on there. So I think it was just put on upside down, and that's what makes it look weird at first glance for those of us that collect this stuff. So I'm pretty sure it's legit. I don't think it's a reseal. It does look a little weird, but I think I'm attributing it to the fact that it's got sealed in a weird way because the blister was upside down. That's, again, me speculating. This one also did have some litho issues by the Return of the Jedi logo from where they tried to remove a price sticker again. $381 still, I mean, in higher grade, you're talking $1,000 all day long. So $381.76, given the defects shown. I thought that was a very fair price. Here was a CAS 80 plus 77 back A. Princess Leia in her Bush disguise, yellow blister, but only faintly, not too bad. Punched example price sticker. That one sold for $375. $375. A pretty healthy number there. Ungraded, probably $225 to $250. So $375 feels about right for a CAS 80 plus. This was a great deal. Somebody got a great deal. At least I hope they did. I sent this out to my Patreon supporters. One of them bought it immediately. This one just got listed like 30 seconds before I happened to notice it on eBay. It was a clear blister 77 back A Chewbacca with the alternate image Rockstar Chewbacca. Unpunched with a price sticker for $225. That is a bargain. A bargain of a deal. I don't see anything that makes me question that this is not legit. So somebody got a stunking good deal on this. And I'm hoping it was one of my Patreon supporters because I sent it out to my Patreons. It got snapped up immediately. And if you did happen to get it, congrats. I hope that it is as good as it looks. It looks like an 80 or an 80 plus grade all day long. And at $225 for a clear blister 77A alternate image Chewbacca, boom! That is what you're looking for when you're scrolling on eBay all the time. And I hope that one of my Patreons got that when I sent that out in a buy it now alert. Some other ones from Jada34 that were at auction. I got some Ewoks. We got Lumat. This one sold for $148.27. We had a Power of the Force Paplu. Obviously some scratches and things like that on the card. $210? $210 is a bargain. I mean, this card is really in pretty good shape. 75 plus kind of grade, if not even higher than that. And at $210, that's a bargain. And then they also had another Paplu, a graded AFA 75 plus that sold for $305. So some really good deals on a few Ewoks. I got a bunch in here, so bear with me. This was an interesting one. Anderson Enterprises had a Tri-Logo TIE Fighter pilot, but it had the Neonum blaster inside instead of the gray version, which is what they're all packed with except for the Lily Letty, obviously, which is a Lily Letty specific black blaster that looks like that. So this is obviously the 9-num blaster that was packed in incorrectly with the TIE Fighter palette for this Tri-Logo. That one sold for $537. The TIE Fighter palette mint on card on a Tri-Logo is always really expensive, but even in this kind of condition, you can expect to pay $400 or $500 minimum. Next up, this one was another one that a Patreon supporter asked me about, and he ended up picking it up for $300. It was a mint on card, obviously in rough shape, but it was at a price that basically what a loose, complete near mint plus a monomon goes for at $300. That's a great deal. So he ended up buying that. He asked me for a affiliate link, and I assume he was the one that bid on it at $300 plus shipping. So great deal on that, Jason. Congratulations. Next up, we had a yellowed 85 grade UKG A-Wing pilot on the Power of the Force card. That sold in an auction for $565. Again, a very fair number for an 85 grade. 80, 85, 85 were the sub-scores on that one. A punched example with no price sticker. Pretty good deal there. Pretty good deal, I think, on that one. And this seller also had some really nice Power of the Force last 17s. We had General Lando AFA 75 for $397. Really quickly, Brian's Toys also did have this one that I forgot to mention in a previous video with their other auctions. I somehow skipped over this one. This was an AFA 80 for Luke Skywalker in his indoor battle poncho. Unpunched, no price sticker. That one closed at $506 in an auction. Back to this other seller. He had some other gems, though. This was the Han Solo in Carbonite. Unpunched, no price sticker, graded AFA 80. Just light yellowing to the blister on that one. It's actually got really good color, if you ask me, on that blister. $540 seems like a really good deal for that. That seems like a bargain of a deal. He also had this AFA 75 Luke Skywalker in the Stormtrooper disguise. Again, unpunched, no price sticker for $1,010. $1,010 on that one, 70, 85, 85. In this case, they were able to bump up the final overall score to a 75 despite that 70 score. So they felt like that 70 score for the card was not bad enough that it should warrant an overall 70. And you would agree, I would agree with that, right? It had some very light scuffing to it, maybe some wave to it and things like that. But overall, I don't know why this one got the 70 grade other than some light scuffs in the upper left-hand corner. I don't know if that's enough to give it a 70 score, but apparently it was. That to me seems like a really harsh subscore of 70 for the card. But that one did close at 1010. And then Silver Corvette, another seller we cover regularly, had two droids. One of them was a little rougher. Obviously, the C-3PO was not perfect with the damage around the hang tab. That one closed at $635, which is what an AFA 85 loose graded figure can go for. But here was the gem. This one was a beauty. This was a Kenner Canada version of the R2-D2 droids figure. This card was pretty much immaculate. It had some very, very light wear to it. One little light vein on the left-hand side on the back of the card that you can see there. This is probably an 80 plus at a minimum. This is a beautiful card. And it sold for $885, which I actually was expecting that to go for more. I was thinking $1,000 to $1,200 all day long. So somebody got a really good deal on that one as well. So absolutely gorgeous. There's something about the droids cards with the Canada foreign French language and all that that just really pops to me. I love the way this looks. So I thought $885 was a great deal for that particular example. That's all I really had for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave me a like if you did. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.